Sherlock Holmes mystery requires an astute investigator. We have one in Nicholas Meyer, author of 2 current Sherlock Holmes bestsellers, The 7% Solution and The West End Horror.
A deer stalker, a magnifying glass, and a meerschaum. To millions of people throughout the world, these 3 objects mean only one thing. They mean Sherlock Holmes, the world's first consulting detective. Was Holmes a real person? Or is he merely a fictional creation who has assumed mythical proportions? A 3-pipe problem, my dear Watson. However, let us examine the facts. In 1954, the British Broadcasting Corporation aired a program commemorating the 100th anniversary of Holmes' birth. True. The editors of Who's Who wrote him up that year as having been born, in fact, 100 years earlier, in 1854. They also list Holmes' parents, his genealogy, his school, Cambridge, as well as his accomplishments in criminology and the titles of the books he wrote. His apartment at 221B Baker Street was recreated with all its trappings. The famed violin, the weapons, the laboratory was visited by hundreds of thousands of people. The crime laboratory in Lyon, in France, is named for Sherlock Holmes. Many of Holmes' innovative methods of detection were actually taught to law officers in the 1900s. Today they're considered elementary. Does all this mean that Sherlock Holmes was a real person? Novelist Arthur Conan Doyle, thought by some to have created Holmes, had this to say regarding the question in 1929.
The curious thing is how many people around the world are perfectly convinced that he is a living human being. I get letters addressed to him. I get letters asking for his autograph. I get letters addressed to his rather stupid friend, Watson. I've even had ladies writing to say that they were very glad to act as his housekeeper.
The first real image of Sherlock Holmes was created by the drawings of Sidney Paget for the 60 stories and novels published in the Strand magazine. For today's image, we are largely indebted to the famous American actor-playwright William Gillette. In 1899, as shown in this rare photo, he starred in his own play based on the stories. It was so successful that 30 years and 1,300 performances later, at age 74, Gillette was still touring the globe as Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes came on the scene before movies were invented. With the coming of film, his exploits trebled in popularity. To date, there have been about 140 Sherlock Holmes movies. Actors popular as Holmes were Ellie Norwood and Arthur Waltner in England, and John Barrymore, who did Holmes in the United States in 1922. In 1929, Clive Brook first gave Holmes a voice in a talking picture. Others carrying on the tradition were Raymond Massey and Peter Cushing in England, and the best known of all in this country, Basil Rathbone, and as his partner, Dr. Watson, Nigel Bruce. Which brings us to the present, and the making of the 7% Solution, and the newest Sherlock Holmes, the brilliant English actor, Nicol Williams.
Holmes? Where are you, Holmes? No need to shout, Watson. Right here. Hello, Toby. Oh, good God. Forgive me, my dear fellow, but you know I cannot resist a touch of the dramatic. And the setting was so perfect that I succumbed to temptation. This way, Watson. The professor has bolted.
I want really the feeling that Holmes is taking you along in a great adventure.
Now, Toby, follow the wheel. Watson, get the bags. We're off.
This is Herb Ross. He directed Barbra Streisand in Funny Lady, and more recently, Walter Matthau and George Burns in The Sunshine Boys. He is bringing to life the 7% Solution, and enjoying every minute of the problems faced by Holmes and Watson.
Element of adventure, daring do. They're in pursuit of a beautiful mezzo-soprano who's being abducted by a Turkish pasha. They're attacked by horses, trapped in the stable. There's a lot of action and adventure stuff. I hope witty and funny and charming.
I am on the case, and you have placed me there. Now you must follow my instructions.
The faithful Dr. Watson is portrayed by Robert Duvall, best known for his performance in The Godfather.
I'm definitely not trying to play him dumb or bumbling the way it's been portrayed in the past.
Oh, Dr. Watson, thank heavens you've come.
Oh, what has happened?
This is a physician of note, and playing him, even though with a wounded leg, he's an ex-rugby player. And he's just a very loyal kind of friend for Sherlock Holmes.
My name is Sigmund Freud.
Alan Arkin portrays the famed psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud, helping Holmes to solve a personal problem and then collaborating with him on the solution of a baffling mystery.
Did an awful lot of reading on Freud only to have to chuck the whole thing out. The character as I'm playing him he's really a figment of the imagination of the man who wrote the script and the book. Nick Meyer's father is an analyst, and he really based Freud on his own father rather than the historical Sigmund Freud.
The intriguing Vanessa Redgrave is the focal point, the catalyst that sets the two finest minds in Europe into action.
I play an opera singer who's called Lola, of an unknown nationality, and Sherlock Holmes rescues Lola from a fate worse than death.
Holmes without his arch-enemy, Professor Moriarty, would be almost unthinkable. Laurence Olivier plays the Napoleon of crime.
Doctor, your friend is, well, persecuting me is the only way I can put it. But you see how it adds to the genius of the thing. The man pervades London, the Western world even, and no one has ever heard of him.
Much of the action of the 7% solution takes place in Vienna and the surrounding countryside. But a stretch of railroad was needed, and that presented a problem. The solution was found in England.
25 miles of private line to ourselves and a number of spectacular-looking period trains that were equipped to run in steam. Nicole to do a lot of very dangerous stunt work, and as well as Jeremy Kemp, and the actors have been climbing in and out of trains and moving vehicles at 45 miles an hour. It's been rough.
We still haven't answered the question. Was Holmes a real person? No newspaper has ever printed his obituary. So if you were to write a letter to Sherlock Holmes, 221 B Baker Street, London, you might get an answer. Lots of people have.